Welcome back into the Bangtan universe wormhole. In this video, we'll be exploring an unsolved mystery in the BU, something small but potentially very important to the next chapter of our story. And this mystery happens to be a whodunit. Who put Changjun's manuscript in the inner room? Now, if that question confuses you, don't worry. It's a tiny point and easily overlooked, which is exactly why we've made a Look Here video about it. These are videos about things that you can easily miss that might be very important. So, let's buckle up and dive into the Bangtan universe to solve this mystery. In HYYH The Notes Book 2, Seokjin almost loses his soul in a disastrous bargain with the cat, and the first step in recovering what he's lost is finding the map of his father's soul. His father Changjun is writing a memoir, and Uncle Junho leaves a draft of the manuscript on Seokjin's desk, along with a note asking for feedback. He skims through the document, and he discovers that a section of about 10 pages is missing. So he flips to the table of contents to find out what was there. And that's when he gets the shock of his life. The cat had told him to find the map of the soul, and that would be the key to ending this endless time loop. And the missing pages of Changjun's journal are a chapter called The Map of the Soul. Seokjin, fortunately, knows where to find those pages, in his father's inner room. But before we go any further, let me stress the importance of this fact. If the pages weren't missing from the manuscript, Seokjin wouldn't have looked at the table of contents to find their title, meaning he wouldn't have found the note about the map of the soul. He might have read it in context, but probably not, because he only planned to skim the document. So it's very important that these pages were missing. Somebody put them in the inner room. And if they hadn't, the results would have been disastrous for Seokjin, and possibly for the world. Changjun's inner room is a room behind the den, where Changjun does most of his work. He keeps his books and papers in the inner room, and although the door is never locked, no one goes in there except for Changjun himself and his secretary. But Changjun isn't home, so Seokjin just walks into the inner room, and he finds the pages right away. They're in an envelope in the middle of a bookshelf, almost as if someone had put them there for him to find. And that's where our mystery begins. I've already said that these 10 pages are a key part of restoring Seokjin's soul, and we've discussed the whole process at length in other videos, so I won't repeat that here. Here, I want you to think about why these pages were removed from the manuscript, who did it, and why. Q and I have 3 suspects, but their motives are still mysterious. Our first suspect is Uncle Junho, Changjun's right-hand man and the person who left the manuscript on Seokjin's desk. Junho could have removed the 10 pages in order to make Seokjin go looking for them. But why would he do that? Well, Junho is usually up to no good, and he works for his own gain as much as he works for Changjun's. And there's something very interesting about the note Junho leaves with the manuscript. It says, quote, "A draft of your father's memoir. You're in it too, so some feedback would be appreciated." Now notice that it doesn't say anything about Changjun wanting Seokjin to read the manuscript. Could Uncle Junho be going behind his father's back, trying to help Seokjin find the map of his soul? Well, it's not impossible, but it's not likely either. Junho is as crooked as a fishhook, and he probably doesn't even know Seokjin is looking for the map of the soul. But he might, just might, think well of Seokjin. So if Junho does know about Seokjin's search, he might be able to give him a hint about where to look. But the most likely reason for Junho to leave the manuscript in the inner room, if he's the culprit, is that the butterfly influenced him somehow. As a matter of fact, Seokjin says that this is the first loop in which he's been asked to read the memoir at such an early stage in its writing, and the butterfly definitely had something to do with that. Moving on, our next subject is Changjun's secretary. This person is only mentioned in one sentence of Notes 2, and we don't even know their gender, but they might have a secret and very important role in the BU. This secretary is the only one besides Changjun who enters the inner room, and they're responsible for filing Changjun's papers. So if the 10 pages accidentally got separated from the rest of the manuscript, the secretary might have found them in another part of the house and put them in the inner room where Changjun could find them later. Or here's a more interesting theory, and it's based on the fact that we don't know anything about the secretary. What if this person is secretly working for the butterfly? If they are, then our heroes have an ally that they don't know about yet, and we'll probably find out more about this person in the next era. Our final suspect is Changjun himself. Since he wrote the manuscript, and since he's almost the only one who goes into the inner room, he's the most likely person to have put the 10 pages in there. In his case, he definitely would not have done so in order to help save Seokjin's soul. Changjun has already lost his soul to the cat, so he'd never willingly work for the butterfly. But it could still influence him without his knowledge. I'll tell you one way that might happen. First, you have to remember that the papers weren't lying loose on the shelf. They were in an envelope. That suggests Changjun either planned to take them somewhere or was bringing them back from somewhere. Now picture Changjun going into the inner room with the envelope in his hand, but he's looking for something else, and he probably needs both hands to pull whatever it is out. So he sets the envelope down on a shelf, grabs the other object, and accidentally leaves the envelope behind when he walks out. But Changjun doesn't seem like the absent-minded type. The only way he'd accidentally leave the envelope in the inner room is if something outside distracted him. Maybe a breeze came in through an open window and scattered the papers on his desk. Who knows? All we can say is that if Changjun is the culprit, the butterfly must have been involved. And that leads us to our final point. Right now, we just don't know who put those papers in the inner room, but we do know one thing. Whoever it was, they did it because the butterfly got involved. Now, do you remember how weak it was when Seokjin first began time traveling? It couldn't do much more than send him and Taeyoung dreams. But by the end of Notes 2, when most of our heroes had become capable adults working with it, even though they don't understand it, the butterfly can do more than send dreams. It can do everything from ruffling pages to creating sandstorms to possibly letting our heroes travel through time and space in dreams. And since that's the case, moving 10 pages of paper from one location to another is as easy as flapping its wings. And now it's your turn. Tell us who you think moved the pages from Changjun's manuscript. Was it Uncle Junho, Changjun's secretary, Changjun himself, or someone else? And how did it happen? We really want to know what you think, so drop your comments below. And I'll also put a poll on our Posts tab so you can cast your vote there. We'll see which possible culprit gets the most votes. And if you like BTS trivia, I hope you'll take a look at the book I've published over on Amazon. It has over 600 trivia questions at 4 levels of difficulty, and it's just $2.99. Thanks as always, and Apo Bangpo.